Hi besties, if you're new here, my name's Lottie, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a really exciting one because it's a throwback to an OG YouTube concept that literally lives in my head rent-free. I love these types of videos, and that, as you can see by the title, is a tag video. Now, if you're unfamiliar, tag videos, I feel like they were really popular back in like the early to mid 2010s, and basically it's just a video with a bunch of questions that you go through and answer, and then you can tag other besties to make the same video and see what their answers are. Pretty simple, but super fun. This is a new bookish tag that my bestie Katie created here on YouTube. I'll link Katie's original video down below if you want to check it out, but she was super sweet and tagged me, and so of course I had to sit down and film it for you guys. So we've got 14 questions, and I'm just gonna sit here and the first question is 5 books that define your taste. I'm very biased given it's my taste. If I had to, I think I'd describe my reading taste as rich, introspective, and really rooted in emotional resonance. I definitely gravitate towards stories that feel lived in, where the characters grow or maybe the setting feels like a character itself. And I really love writing that makes you feel something, but without like hitting you over the head with it. I really like stories that center around women's growth, women's development, women's issues. Like as a woman, I just oftentimes find women's stories more interesting.
Women's stories matter.
Yeah.
Right. They just matter.
I really like thoughtful, cozy, reflective stories, but they can't bore me. They need to be like grounded and well crafted too. So with all that being said, here are the 5 books that I chose to represent my book taste. First up is one of the books that stands out to me the most when I think about my experience of getting back into reading as an adult, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I know all of you have probably heard of this book at this point. It's so wildly popular. I really want to get the special edition with like the rings that are sprayed on the edges, but this book definitely represents a lot of stories I really love. I feel like it deals with feminism. It's definitely introspective. There's some character growth. There's almost like a little bit of mystery. There's romance. There's just a little bit of everything. I really love all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's like Hollywood series that she's done, but this one is just the one that I read first, so it's just stuck with me the longest. Just the drama of it all. I love like reading about people's lives when the people are actually interesting, and that's like pretty much the crux of it with this one. Okay, the next book I picked to represent my reading taste is The Good Part by Sophie Cousins. This is a magical realism or speculative fiction book. It's definitely more women's fiction than romance. There's a subplot of romance for sure, but it leans heavily into themes of like growth and development just on our main female character. This book just has a really special place in my heart. It's basically a book for anyone who's ever wanted to skip to the good part of their life. I love books like this that kind of talk about some of those themes you may be feeling, whether you're in your teens and you want to skip to your 20s, or you're in your 20s and you want to skip to like being married and being a mom. I feel like this book could really apply to almost anyone. And I just really love like a magical realism kind of story that explores either women's friendships or just like your own introspection and journey and path in life. I don't know. I think this would be a really good book club book. It's full of like really rich reminders to just like enjoy life. And I think that's part of the reason I really love this book. The third book that I picked that I feel like describes my reading taste well is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. The writing in this book is just so magical. I flew through this in like 2 days and was just absolutely obsessed. It's rich, it's romantic, and it just like, I felt like I was there. This one just surprised me, and I felt like Iris and Roman's connection in this book just really stuck with me. This is just such a cozy but still like high stakes read, and I think that's why I love it so much. The fourth book I picked that defines my reading taste is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I gush about this book like in every third video, I swear. But this was probably my favorite book that I read last year. I recommend it to literally everyone. Again, it kind of has magical realism. Not really. Basically, we have an octopus named Marcellus as a main character in this book, and he teams up with our main character Tova, but you don't really have where Marcellus is like actually talking in the book. I think a lot of people are like, I don't know if I want to read about a talking octopus. You basically get these like intermittent chapters from Marcellus where it says like day 1301 of my captivity. This is how I do it. Near the top of my enclosure, there's a hole in the glass where the pump comes in. Like you hear his like inner monologue, but he's not actually like speaking in the book. You know what I mean? So it's not really magical realism, but Marcellus being in this book seriously was so charming. It made the book for me. And Tova, also our main female character, she's older, she's retired, and she's kind of doesn't know what to do with herself, honestly. She lost her son when she was in like middle age, and her husband recently passed away. So she ends up volunteering at the local aquarium and ends up teaming up with Marcellus to uncover, I guess, a bit of information. But this is just the most charming, heartwarming story. It's warm. It's like just like the beauty of humanity. I don't know. I freaking love this book. And the fifth book I would say that defines my reading taste would be, you guessed it guys, Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This is another book I talk about all the freaking time. This is the first ever book I read by Kristen Hanna. I picked this up last August and have just been yapping about it on here ever since. But this book follows two best friends, Kate and Tully, over the course basically of their lives. And you get to see them as they grow together, grow apart, they fight, they make up, they love each other, they hate each other. It's just a real authentic roller coaster when it comes to female friendship. It's a really beautiful examination of those friends that feel like sisters and just the beauty and the depth that friendship offers, especially to women. I just recommend this book to absolutely everyone. The characters are definitely flawed, and I think that everyone could probably see a little bit of themselves in hopefully both of our friends, Kate and Tully. I definitely did. Absolutely love this. Definitely defines my taste. Okay, question number 2 is books that you were obsessed with during different eras of your life. So when thinking about my journey as a reader throughout my life, I would say that I definitely read a lot of books as a child. My mom actually studied and was an elementary school educator, so we have an entire library full of children's books at my childhood home, and there were so many to choose from. My parents were really great about reading to me and teaching me about the importance of reading from a really young age, so I have so many favorites. It's really hard to narrow down. Some that just like came right to mind that I feel like it means something, you know, if I can think of them so quickly, would be Harriet, You Drive Me Wild. That one is just a classic. I would say a lot of the books that I really loved as a kid were ones about like little girls who were just like rascals, you know, were up to no good, making mischief, really creative, free-spirited types of young girls who just march to the beat of their own drum. So to go along with that theme, another book that I really loved was Eleanor and Violet, which is the story of two naughty chickens. And there's also an Eleanor and Violet where they go to the beach, and I remember loving that one too. Once again, going on this theme, I really loved Olivia. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that one. I feel like it's super famous. She's a diva, you know, I was a diva as a kid, if you can believe it. Going along with the diva vibe, Lily's Purple Plastic Purse was on repeat in my house. My parents were like, you want to read something else? I was like, no, I'll do Lily's Plastic Purse another time, please. Let's run that back. And then one Caldecott book winner that I really loved also was Blueberries for Sal. This one just like, I loved the illustrations and it's just a gorgeous book. So that one stuck with me too. I would say my reading journey, like I read a lot in elementary school. And then when I got to middle school, I went to like a private college prep middle and high school. And it was really intense, guys. Like I had 4 hours of homework every night minimum, like in middle school. And so I really kind of lost a little bit of my love for reading during this time, but I definitely still read some, especially during the summers. Some middle grade books that I remember really loving when I was like later in elementary school and then in early middle school was of course Matilda. Like I love everything Roald Dahl. I loved the series called the Winnie Years series. There's a book for every age, like every year that the main character was. So there was a book called 11, a book called 12, 13, and then 13 plus 1. I remember loving that series, and it's such a good one if you have like a middle schooler. And then I also pretty quickly got into young adult books from there. So The Hunger Games, of course. I remember reading the Hunger Games book in like 6th or 7th grade and being obsessed. I could not wait for the movie to come out. I remember reading the Hunger Games actually on my Nook. I had a little Barnes & Noble Nook e-reader, and I have like vivid memories of finishing that Hunger Games book sitting on my bed reading my Nook. So, and then also for like summer reading with school in probably early high school, I read Divergent, I read The Fault in Our Stars. You guys know that whole like 2014 era. I was like 16 at the time, and I was definitely like heavy into all of the YA dystopian stuff. And I also really loved the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series by Jenny Han. I never really got into The Summer I Turned Pretty, but I loved the To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So those are a few of the different books that I loved during different eras of my life. Okay, question number 3 is your favorite genres. So I would say like statistically, I really love romance, but like I really like a specific kind of romance. And I think romance is just where I'm the most comfortable. And I often use it as like a palate cleanser in between books, or if I don't know what to read, I'm just going to go for a romance. With that being said, and also loving like women's fiction, I definitely also love literary fiction and contemporary fiction. So I'm most interested in stories that kind of, I don't know, you guys know what I said about my reading taste, like dive into like character development or an examination of like love and life and grief, like things like that are really interesting to me. And specifically when there's like strong female characters, I just really latch onto them. I also really like romantasy. I find I'm most comfortable with romantasy right now because I'm so comfortable with bromance, and that's kind of like my safety zone. That romantasy has been a really fun new genre that I've been exploring a lot over the past year or two. I definitely still want to get more into romantasy. I just find I'm not like reaching for it as a palate cleanser the way I do with just traditional romance, and I want to get better at like incorporating more romantasy. And then I also really love like a cozy mystery, or okay, I learned this recently. I don't really like thrillers that have to do with like abductions or like missing people, especially young girls who like get kidnapped. hate that. I do, however, really enjoy like a whodunit or just like a mystery that has to do with like tax evasion, fraud, like White Lotus style, like thrilling mystery kind of vibes where it's like eerie and tense, but like there's nothing that's gonna like make your stomach sick. And it's not even that like the abduction stories make me feel like actually that scared. They just like make my stomach hurt. Like I'm just sad. So that's definitely my taste in thriller. And when I find a good one, I really love that kind of book. And I especially love it as like a quick palate cleanser. If I'm feeling slumpy, I love to read like a fast-paced book like that. If you guys have any good recs for that, let me know, because I feel like they can be kind of hard to find. Okay, question number 4 is favorite authors. And this one is so difficult to definitely like nail down to just a few because I have so many favorite authors. And I always love trying new authors too. I took some books off the shelf. I'd say some of my favorite authors right now are some of these women here. Like I said, I read a lot of kind of like romance, women's fiction books just because that's my comfort zone. And these ladies do it the best of the best. So the first would be Carly Fortune. This is her release from last summer called This Summer Will Be Different. I just love Carly's writing. Her writing just transports you. Like I swear, I feel like I'm there. It's the perfect beach read. All of her books are so great to read in the summer. She also writes such great banter. Like it's sexy. There's tension. It just has a little bit of everything, and I just will ride for Carly. Next, another kind of obvious pick is Ashley Poston. You guys know I love Ashley Poston. Given how much I've been talking about magical realism so far, this should come as no surprise because Ashley Poston is kind of my queen when it comes to magical realism stories. Almost all of hers feature some component of that. The 7-Year Slip is probably her most famous book, and it's my personal favorite as well. And also my book is signed. It says to Lottie, which is a fun fact. It's cozy, it's cute. The romance has such a strong connection, and I just love the setting. Like it's just but it also explores themes of grief, which I really appreciated, and I feel like she does a good job keeping the plot interesting. Like she just knows how to craft a really cozy but interesting romance story, and I love them every time. Okay, I also already talked about Sophie Cousins when I mentioned the good part earlier in the video, but this is another book that she wrote called Is She Really Going Out With Him? This is such a great rom-com. Sophie Cousins is just kind of the queen of rom-coms. Her audiobooks are really great too, and they're kind of low spice, which I like for an audiobook. And these books are just like funny and heartwarming and entertaining, and they're not too long either. I'm like really tired of reading like 500-page romance books. So I love Sophie Cousins for that. And then finally we have Cara Bastone. She's becoming a new favorite author for me as well. I'm currently reading Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I gave Promise Me Sunshine 4.5 and I'm loving Ready or Not so far. Specifically, I'm loving the writing style of it. It's very conversational. It's almost like you're having like a FaceTime with your bestie or you're reading someone's journal. And it's just like a very personal kind of writing that I find really, really engaging. And she's often got like bigger themes of like women's fiction, grief, growth, things like that tied in with the romance aspect, and I'm gonna eat it up every single time. Of course, I also love Emily Henry. I have like an entire half of my shelf right here with Emily Henry books. I figure she's so popular, I didn't need to like sit here and ramble on about how much I love Emily Henry. And I felt the same with Kristen Hanna. I love Kristen Hanna, so those are my honorable mentions too. Okay, question 5 is your favorite form of reading, whether that be physical books, ebooks, audiobooks, and I definitely try to keep a mix of all three in my rotation. But if I'm being 1000% honest, I would say that reading on an e-reader is definitely my favorite way to read. Like I said, I'm reading Ready or Not right now on my Kobo, and I just love being able to like get cozy in bed reading on my e-reader. I feel like I read so much faster. I have a whole video on like Kindle versus physical books and why I love my Kindle, so I feel like I'll just link that down below if you guys want. E-reading is just like, that is what I'm gonna pick if I have the choice, but of course I love collecting books because I'm such a huge reader. So sometimes, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and buy the physical book for my collection, and then of course I'll just read the physical copy. But if I can get an ebook version from like Libby or Kindle Unlimited, I'm gonna do it. Okay, question number 6 is favorite book characters. So these are just the first ones that came to mind, and I'm probably forgetting some like core characters that mean a lot to me, but these are the ones that came to mind. So we have Marcellus from Remarkably Bright Creatures. He is the Remarkably Bright Creature. I'm obsessed with him. He's just so sassy. He's so smart. He's a good octopus, and I could tear up thinking about him. I also recently learned that Remarkably Bright Creatures is becoming a movie, and like, where do I pre-order my ticket? I would like to go ahead and reserve my seat. Marcellus, you'll always be iconic. Another character that came to mind for me was Adina from Powerless. Powerless is a YA romantasy trilogy, and Adina is our main character, Peyton's best friend, who is primarily featured in the first book, Powerless. And then Powerful, which is the novella in between books 1 and 2, is basically the events of Powerless, the first book, but told from Adina's perspective. It was so wonderful to kind of get things from Adina's perspective, and kind of the whole arc and like point of her character is that like being a softer, more feminine woman in a fantasy fantasy book is not a weakness, it's a power and a strength. And I just think that her character is just such a beautiful character and an important one. So I also thought about Karen from Daisy Jones and the Six. I know this is another popular book. Hopefully you guys have read it so you know who Karen is, or seen the series. Karen is on the keyboard in the Six of Daisy Jones and the Six. She is just like, if I had to give Karen a Taylor Swift song, I would give her Midnight Rain. I remember when I was at the Eras Tour listening to Midnight Rain, I literally like took a video. I think her story is a lot about how you can want to be ambitious, you can want to be successful, and that doesn't make you less of a woman just because you want those things more than other things maybe other women may want. I think her story is a really important one, and I wish that there were more characters like her. So if you have any good book recs with like Karen-coded characters, let me know. This one's definitely fresh on the mind, but I also really loved Maisie Donner in Sunrise on the Reaping, the new Hunger Games prequel. Maisie Donner was a fellow tribute with Haymitch in the 50th Hunger Games. Maisie just puts the Capitol people in their place so well, and she just remembers who she is, and she doesn't let them make a mockery of her death. She just stays true to herself throughout the entire book, and I really respect Maisie and love her. I can't wait to see her brought to life in the movie adaptation. So those are a few that came to mind. Okay, question number 7 is your favorite book series, and for this one, I think you guys already know, I'm gonna have to say Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This is my special edition of the first Magnolia Parks book. It's so beautiful. I read this entire series about this time last year, and I'm already craving a reread. But like, look at this. Is this not insane? I'm realizing I didn't say Jessa Hastings when I was talking about my favorite authors, and she definitely is one of my favorites. I want to just live in her head for a day. Like, the way that she's able to describe feelings is unlike anything I've ever read, and I think that's why this series sticks out to me so much. This is like a no spice kind of romance, but more so literary fiction, I feel like, series that follows an elite, wealthy friend group that is based in London. Specifically, you're kind of following Magnolia and BJ in these Magnolia Parks books, who have a bit of a toxic dynamic together. But beyond just Magnolia Parks, I also absolutely love the Daisy Hates books, which are the kind of companion books in this series. So you would start by reading Magnolia Parks and then go and read Daisy Hates. Daisy Hates follows a different character, Daisy, and that book exists in the same timeline as this first Magnolia Parks book. So you alternate reading Magnolia Parks 1, Daisy Hates 1, MP2, DH2, and so on. So right now we're waiting on the next Daisy Hates book, Daisy Hates 3. So I'm all caught up for now, but this is just definitely my favorite series. I know you guys have heard me gush about it. One thing I will say about the series though is that I feel like the first 2 books, so the first Magnolia book and the first Daisy book, they're not as good as the rest of the series. They're still great books, don't get me wrong. And like, looking back now, I'm more obsessed with them than I was at the time. But if you read the first one and you're like, this is what everyone's so obsessed with, and you don't really understand why, like, it was fine, like, okay, just keep going. And like, trust me, I know that it's a lot to ask. If you don't want to, that's fine. But by the end of Magnolia Parks 2, which is the third in the series, I think you'll start to understand the cult that is Magnolia Parks fans. Okay, question 8 is a series you're most excited to finish. So I would say for this, the Beartown trilogy. I've read the first book in the Beartown trilogy, and the second one is on my April TBR, but I have not had a chance to read it yet, so I'm worried it's not gonna make it this month. But despite that, it is a series that I'm really, really excited to continue and finish. I wanna do a video like continuing series I'm in the middle of, which is part of the reason I've been putting off reading the next one, but I absolutely can't wait to get back to the series. Beartown was probably my favorite book that I read in the month of February. I gave it 5 stars. It really has stuck with me and meant a lot to me, and I cannot wait to keep reading. Based on how I described my reading taste, I feel like if you've read the first Beartown book, you probably understand why this one clicked so well for me, but it's like a small town drama in a Swedish hockey town, and I just adored Fredrik Backman's writing. I can't wait to continue the series because I feel like I want to finish that series and then move on to reading like Anxious People and some of Fredrik Backman's other work, and I can't wait to read more from him in general as an author too. So question 9 is a series that you're excited to start. So I have so many. I have like an entire post-it note full of different series I want to start in my reading journal, but I think the most obvious one is definitely Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Everyone has been begging me to start Throne of Glass, and I promise I'm going to do it soon. I want my reading experience to be like perfectly curated, and I don't want to feel stressed about it. So I'm just waiting for that like right moment, and maybe that will never come and I just need to start it. But I'm really excited about Throne of Glass. So I am eagerly anticipating reading that series. I have a feeling feeling I'm gonna love it. But a few others that are on my radar that I would love to get to at some point in the future would be the One Dark Window duology. I've heard nothing but good things, and that's one that I just like have not made time for because it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I just feel like I end up forgetting to put it on my TBR. And anyway, that is one that has really stuck out to me and I definitely want to read at some point this year. And then also I've heard so many people who are so obsessed with the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. And I'm pretty sure there's a new book coming out in that series this year, which is really exciting too. So that is one that I definitely need to get to. I've heard it not compared to Magnolia Parks, but I've heard that if you like Magnolia Parks, you'll probably like Boys of Tommen. So I'm eagerly anticipating that series too. Okay, so question number 10 is a book that you predict will be a favorite. And after analyzing my full TBR cart, I'm gonna go with An Ember in the Ashes. I feel like this is maybe the book on my TBR cart that I feel like has the highest 5-star potential. So this is another series that I'm really excited to get to. It's a 4-book series about our main female character, Leia, and our main male character, Elias. And they live under this martial empire where defiance is met with death. Leia's brother ends up being arrested for treason, and I think in exchange for help from some rebels who are gonna try to get her brother back, she ends up becoming a spy for the rebels to help them from within the Empire's military academy. And there she meets Elias, who is the school's finest soldier, but secretly he is pretty against everything, I guess, that he's been trained to do. And so that's kind of the setup of this one, but I'm so excited to get to this one somewhat soon. Hopefully. I recently saw Heather McClary reading this and absolutely loving it. Okay, question 11 is your favorite special edition or your favorite book cover, just the most beautiful book that you have. I showed you the Magnolia Parks one earlier, so I think I'm gonna go with my Beach Read special edition. The only reason is just because this one also has a dust jacket and it's beautiful underneath. It has an inscription of my favorite quote from this book on the front, which I'm just like, chef's kiss. It's like someone read my mind making this book. It has these gorgeous, like, I think they call these end papers that are like inside when you first open, and it has these lovely sprayed edges. So I just had to go with this one. This is also one of those books that kind of got me back into reading, so it just holds a special place in my heart. And then the spine just says written by Emily Henry. I just love the yellow. This, I think if I had to choose a color that represented like me, I think I would pick like this butter yellow, and just the cotton candy kind of colors of the edges I just feel like are gorgeous. I love this book and it means a lot to me. So question 12 is, if you could go buy a book right now, what would you buy? So I came up with 3 because obviously I can't just buy one book if I go to the bookstore, please. Like, I'm filling up my cart, and I have a few different ones that are on my radar right now. So the first one is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is a contemporary romance book that I've been hearing so many good things about, and I feel like I keep getting recommendations for this one. Like, if you like this book, read this book, of books that I already like. I feel like based on my taste and different recommendations that I've gotten, I would really like that book. Another book that I've been seeing absolutely everywhere, and I know everyone has been reading this lately, is Deep Cuts. And I think it just got picked up for a movie adaptation by A24, and it's gonna have Saoirse Ronan. Is that how you say her name? I don't know. And Austin Butler. So, you know, I'm gonna be reading that. Also, my friend Alice read it and loved it. I trust her recommendations for sure, and definitely want to pick that one up soon to read it as well. And then finally, another one that's on my radar right now is The Rachel Incident. I saw Sally Dar Griffin talking about this one, and she absolutely loved it. And I get a lot of recommendations from her in terms of like kind of the weird girl lit category. Not that Sally Dar is not like a weird girl, but like, you guys know what I mean. I love getting recommendations of books like that from her, and I don't know that The Rachel Incident is fully in that like weird girl lit territory, but she has a lot of great just like lit fic recs. I know Green Dot is another one that she spoke about recently that I'm interested in. So those are a few on my radar. Question 13 is favorite bookish merch you own and shops you like. I realized I forgot mine, so let me go get it. Okay, I'm back. It's really hard to pick a favorite piece of bookish merch, but if I had to, if you're making me pick, I think I would say this is my How's the Weather Parks crew neck sweatshirt. It's not even like the design of the sweatshirt, guys. This is just the softest sweatshirt I've ever owned. It's so cozy. I've ordered other sweatshirts from House of Jupiter, and they're not the same material. Like, I think it's just this sweatshirt. So it's not even like all House of Jupiter crew neck or like anything like that. It's literally just this sweatshirt is so soft. It has this heart on it and it says How's the Weather Parks. It's a reference to Magnolia Parks, which I gushed about, of course, but this is definitely my favorite piece of bookish merch if I have to pick. But I honestly have other bookish merch with designs that I think are more like intricate or unique or cool or creative. It's just like, I'm always reaching for this. But I will link a ton of different bookish merch websites down below that I love and check all the time. I could sit here and yap about it for a while, but I feel like it's fun to just kind of go and click through all the sites and see if you see anything you like, more than me just sitting here being like, yeah, and I love this and that and whatever. But I'll link some of my favorites down below. And if you have any questions about any specific bookish merch you ever see me wearing, I'll definitely make sure to try to get you a link. Also, I think I forgot to say this is from House of Jupiter, so I'll link it down below. Okay, and then the last question, question 14, are some of your favorite bookish creators, which I think is so fun. I have so many, like so many. We're gonna do some rapid style shout outs because I just thought it'd be fun, and I'm gonna tag everyone down below. So if I mention you as one of my favorite bookish creators, I also want to tag you to do this video. Even if I didn't tag you specifically, I'd still love to know your answers to these questions if you want to comment them down below or post them on your social media and tag me. But some of my favorite bookish creators are, of course, bestie Katie, who created this tag and tagged me. I love watching Katie's videos and have so much fun hanging out with her every time she uploads. I feel like she's really authentic in her videos, and you can really tell that she's being herself, and she's so comfortable in front of the camera, and I just love that about her. I feel like I really know her, and she is one of my besties. Now, some other favorite book creators, I would say Rachel Catherine is one of the biggest, most like mainstream bookish creators that really got me into booktube and the bookish community here on YouTube. I really love her videos, and I just find her so sweet, and I love her personality. I really do love Rachel's videos, so I would love to see her do this video. I also love bestie Jamie's videos. She has been so consistent with her uploads lately. I have been so impressed because she is just on it. Like, she always has a fun new video coming out, I swear, like every 3 days. I'm like, Jamie, how are you doing this? I really love her book taste too. I feel like she challenges me to get a little bit outside of my comfort zone, or she introduces me to some new books that I haven't heard of. Natalie Lawyer is amazing. She is so aesthetic. Like, her Instagram is amazing, and her videos are just as cute, and she just has the best personality. Lexi, aka Newly Nova, is a huge inspiration for me. I love her videos and her sense of humor. She just brings a different flavor to the bookish community that I have an appetite for. Emmy Rossum seems like the sweetest girl. She's so hardworking, and she just makes you want to be best friends with her. She is so dedicated and uplifting and bubbly, and I love the way she talks about books. Kalila D is also an incredible bookish creator. I love watching her videos. She always has great book recs and such fun video ideas. She just seems like the sweetest. Heather McClary is definitely one of my faves. I would love to see Heather do this video. She just keeps it real. Like, she is herself. She's so authentic, and she definitely inspires me in that way. Mick's Library, of course, I would love to see Mick do this video. I love her sense of humor. I love her book taste. I love her editing. There's just nothing not to like about Mick's videos. Freya also makes such amazing videos. She is like a fairy. Her videos and her vibe is just so like ethereal. I don't even know. She just seems like the most down-to-earth, like kind person, and I love watching her videos. Ella Marie has really fun video ideas and really great editing and just such a bubbly personality, so she's a really fun one to watch too. I'd love to see her do this video. Meg with Books, I love her sense of humor. If I need a laugh, or just like I'm having a bad day and I need someone to cheer me up, I'm putting on a Meg with Books video. She is so iconic. Emily Michelle, this is another Aussie booktuber. Her home library is so insane. I love it. I got really into watching her videos when she did Bookmas, and I feel like she's just always reading the books that I want to read, and I love seeing what she thinks about them before I actually read them. Tiffany Leanne, oh my gosh, her editing is insane. Tiffany, please, can we like sit down and teach me your ways, because I'm so inspired by your editing. But not only that, but Tiffany just has the best, most bubbly energy and personality. Taylor Halbert is another creator that I think is super underrated. I love her videos. She's just super thoughtful and genuine when it comes to her video ideas and how she executes them, and I just think she does a great job with her videos, and I love watching them. Lily Grace is another booktuber I absolutely love. She is just so sweet, so gorgeous, and I always smile when I see she has a new upload. Hallie Bush is another booktuber that I absolutely love. She also runs a bookish merch shop, and that's how I found her channel, but she really loves like fantasy, and I feel like she is a really great person to watch if you love fantasy and romantasy too. Ellen Catherine's videos are so great. I feel like she's super popular here on BookTube, and for good reason. She's so funny and so consistent. She is always posting a new reading vlog, and I feel like we are so well fed by Miss Ellen, and for that I'm thankful. And then of course Sarah Caroli and Destiny Sidwell. I feel like these are our two mothers of BookTube who have really paved the way for a lot of other creators, and they definitely both inspire me a ton, so I'd love to see either of them do this video too. And really quickly, in addition to just bookish creators, I did want to mention I have a couple lifestyle creators that also do some bookish content, and I wanted to tag them as well in case they wanted to do a book specific video. Would love to see Abby Aslin, Carter Sullivan, Sally Dar Griffin, and Sophie Jane all do this video. I love their lifestyle content, and they often talk about the books they're reading too, so if they wanted to do a dedicated book video, you all know I would be watching it. So if you love lifestyle and bookish content, all four of them are some of my most watched. Okay, I feel like I've been yapping for what feels like forever, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it was so much fun to bring back the OG tag video concept. Like I said, if you want to share your answers to the tag in the comments below, I'd love to see them. Or if you just want to let me know that you made it all the way to the end of the video, you can comment down below with the star emoji. Thank you all so much for watching. I had so much fun hanging out with you today, and I hope you had fun getting to know me and some of my bookish favorites a little bit better. In case you missed my last video, it was a pretty long vlog of just my my spring bookish diaries, reading some new releases and arcs and going to an author event and stuff like that. It was a ton of fun. So I'd love for you to check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I think that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for making it all the way to the end and supporting my channel. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.